Hey everyone, thanks for checking out this property analysis video. My name is Ryan Cushman. I'm a realtor and investor in North Georgia with 6 short-term rentals. And my goal here is to help you find and analyze investment properties that will provide a better lifestyle for you and your family. So today I'm going to dive into an analysis of another property that I like. We will go through what the property is, where it is, and why I think it's a good investment. This one is on the other end of the spectrum as far as price compared to my last video. It's about 10 times the price of the last one I did. But if you're in the market for a property of this caliber, this one I can show you why it would make a good choice for you. So at 1.2 million, I do feel like the price is a little rich. But even at this price, I do think it still cash flows positively. And when I see properties that are this expensive, especially with it being only a 2-bedroom, I think, how can that possibly cash flow positively? But the numbers are saying that it does. So let's take another look at it. This was built in 2018. Down here in the description, the listing is claiming that it does over $136K in gross rental income. Of course, some of that is platform fees, clean fees. So the net after that is going to be interesting to learn, which is something we can verify and validate with the listing agent. 92% occupancy, that's a strong number as well. So let's take a look at the pricing history. I always find this to be interesting and see what kind of story it's telling here. So it was bought by the current owner in September of 2022 for $807,000, which surprises me that it was at that price at that time. That was more or less the peak of the market. There are arguments to be made that the market has flatlined, certainly not gone up 49%, as would be indicative of the price jump here. So I'm not saying that this was the right price at that time. I'm also not saying that this is the right price at this time. I would imagine that this property is going to have a hard time selling at this price, but we're going to analyze it as if we're buying it at that price. So let's take a look at the next couple of photos here to get a glimpse of what this property has to offer. Of course, it appears to have some pretty spectacular views. Those are giant selling points and what a lot of folks look for when they're renting. It's got some really nice modern rustic charm, and looks very comfortable, and those views just look, pretty insane. Awesome fireplace, very comfortable looking living space, couch, and of course they're going to highlight, some of these just breathtaking views from pretty much anywhere in the house: bedroom, living room, bathroom, deck. The deck space is spectacular. The other bedroom is, of course, also got the similar views and experiences. Very beautifully appointed. This lower deck space is really cool. It's got string lights. It's where the hot tub and just bar hangout. We've got, space for outdoor games. The third fireplace, a big, porch swing, outdoor mini fridge and bar top setup, and a bathroom down there. So beautiful property. And if it really can do 136K top line, then that's why this would make sense. So we flip over to Rabu. Let's see what it has to say. Right here, I am looking at, I've done some preliminary filters. I'm looking at about a 2-mile radius. guest reviews of a minimum of 5. I feel like we should maybe go between 2 and 3 bedroom places. Make sure it's filtered for a hot tub. See what that does. All right, so this is the average. Now, if we are in the 75th percentile, oh, look, there's the property right there. There's the subject property. It says it does 67.94, which is less than what the owner is claiming. I am inclined to believe what the listing says over this, as I pointed out in other videos, and also verifying it with properties that I own, knowing what the revenue is. It does seem to underestimate what high-performing properties tend to do. So, all right, so if we're in the 75th percentile, 63. If we're in the 90th percentile, 78. All right, so if we're basing it off of Rabu's numbers alone, this property is not going to make any sense. If we jump to 104, let's see what the difference is here. All 31, 75th, 59, 90th, 76. I don't know where that 104 number came from. Glitch in the matrix. All right, here we go. So yeah, Rabu numbers aren't overly compelling. Let's take a look at what PriceLabs is telling us. Also not very compelling. I've gone through and done some filters here. Active listings. We want hot tubs. We want properties with reviews. I clicked upscale, and still the numbers aren't. We're looking at a top line of or a top earning of 62 based on what what the law of averages, the upper median of that range is for properties in that with these filters. So when we open this up over here, one of the properties is the subject property. It's actually this one right here. Now, according to PriceLabs, it does 121K, which, based on the listing, seems legit. It's got 129 5-star reviews, hosted by Brock and Kim. Brock actually owns a property across the street from me in Pigeon Forge. He's obviously a spectacular host. He is not the owner of this property, but he manages it and is doing clearly a spectacular job. So the listing photos look just great. Look at that, man. Of course, this is going to be booked 92% of the time because these photos are great, and the property itself is great. And yeah, so I'm in love with this property. It's a winner. And when we look at some of these maybe other properties to see what the competition is doing, that's a similar looking property as far as mountain views, high quality product. Yeah. So this other property, which is at the top of the list, is making almost 140. So when we flip over to our STR calculator, we plug in the 1.2 million. And again, I feel like that's a really high price. I bet somebody might be able to get it for a little bit better than that. But I would say that you probably don't have to do a whole lot as far as reno and furnishings. But it could benefit you too, with this being a premium offering, to offer up a couple more premium services or premium amenities. maybe just one more. Maybe the barrel sauna is kind of my go-to because it is not found very frequently in the market, and wouldn't be that expensive to add to a property that already costs this much on a percentage basis at least. So call it 10K all in just to run the electrical and have it set up and built. Call this maybe $3,000 just to replenish and refresh linens or whatever that have been, getting used for a couple of years. Maybe they're not as current, but with the fact that they have 130 5-star reviews, I'm guessing they keep things pretty fresh there. So this, I'd say, is generous. All right, so out of that 136, you have to account for probably between 15 and 20% of that being cleaning fees and platform fees. So 136 times 0.82, we'll call it, split the difference. So really it's netting after cleaning fees 111. Let's see what that does for us. Let's bump this up to 21. Yeah. All right. So if we are doing approximately what the property claims to be doing already, where it's, grossing a little over $9,000 a month, I would say it's probably going to turn less than 12 times. So that's probably, let's call it 7 times. Okay. We're going to make this cleaning fee we'll make the cleaning fee 200. This is a premium product after all, but we'll only pay our cleaner 175. Let's see, because then we'll earn a little bit of money off of that. All right. So this property at that price still looks like it'll make $1,200 a month. If we squeeze out a little bit more, if we are occupied 92% of the 93% of the month, and I just have the same price. This was actually a price that I populated for like a couple weeks out from now. This was the average nightly rate that I was seeing on there, $425 a night. So if we do somewhere in the middle of these two things, so let's call this one 24 nights out of the month, 21, 24, and 28. So we're at 70, 80, and 93% occupancy. Let's see what the scenarios are looking like here. So we're doing 110. That's consistent with what the property is currently doing, and maybe, maybe what reality actually is. Perhaps the average nightly rate is actually a little bit lower than this, and they're getting 92% occupancy to net out to that same number. Then if we are surpassing those projections, actually, you know what? Let's do this. So let's say this one. All right, there we go. Let's say we underperform. Let's say we're doing 375 and we're only 70%. So we're doing 97K there. And then we're doing 375 and we're doing 93% there. Okay. So here are the 3 scenarios. The middle scenario is accurate to what the listing agent is claiming the property does currently. So we're at 97K, just shy of $100,000, $8,100 a month, and we're cash flowing just $144 a month, which is not great. That number that rent right there would not be favorable, especially at that price point. The next scenario, we're making $1,200 a month. we're doing approximately what the listing agent claims the property is doing. And then in scenario 3, we're really exceeding what the current property manager is doing, and we're bringing in $2,700 a month. So this property obviously carries a little bit more risk. It's a lot higher entry point, and some folks may not quite have the deep pockets for that, or the stomach to be able to take on the risk of not hitting these numbers. But you can see that even though the property is at a really high price, it still could be the right investment for somebody who is in the market for a property of that caliber, needing the tax benefits on top of the fact that it has a high probability of generating some nice cash flow as well. So if you're interested in this property or any other property in the North Georgia mountain market, please reach out to me, ryancushman.com. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to help you out. Happy to spitball scenarios with you on properties that you're looking at and give you my 2 cents, my opinion. Having 6 properties in the short-term rental space, I know a thing or two, and am happy to lend my expertise and my services to you. So you can either take the first steps or take the next steps in your short-term rental investment journey. Thanks again for checking it out. Thanks for watching the whole way through, and I'll see you next time.